Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's Reddit post is about near-death experiences. Before we move on, I'd like to thank you for watching my video. Now without further ado, here are some near-death experiences. As a teenager, I was skateboarding down the stairs at near a road. I had been doing a few different tricks, but on my last try I did my signature nightmare flip, which I've landed 100 times. Somehow this time I fudged up and fell on my dumper. My board went into the street and got annihilated by a box truck instantly. Had I landed it, I would have been killed. It wasn't the kind of thing where I saw my life flash before my eyes or anything, but I just sat there in shock as the guy stopped and started screaming at me. My friends started yelling back, blah blah blah, everything was like muted and I just stared into the street like what the apple just happened? I just had a scary moment like this in a bar this past Friday. I knew I was going to go down, my vision was fading, and I think I managed to say I think I'm gonna faint and I went down. Thankfully my boyfriend caught me and I didn't hit the floor hard. He and a friend had to carry me down 2 sets of stairs in a very busy bar as I went in and out of consciousness, and finally peed myself when we were outside. Easily the most embarrassing and scary moment. EMTs were called but my vitals were fine so they let me go home. I have no idea what caused it. I didn't drink enough, had eaten a ton, and had water. I remember seeing my heart rate spike to over 140 on my Fitbit before it happened. Thankfully I'm seeing a doctor next week to discuss looking into WTF happened. Driving home from school for Thanksgiving break just over a week ago, I was caught in a flash flood going 80 down the highway. I was in the right lane of a 4-lane, 2 each way, road. A gust of wind hit me and I flew off the left side into a ditch, and spun around like a carnival ride. If the ditch wasn't quite as deep I would have ended up in oncoming traffic. Closest to dying I've ever come. Copy-paste from something I've posted before. It was August, in I think 2010, could be 2009, was during an under-18 sailing week. I was 17, or 16, seriously, my memory sucks. Was during the 3rd race that week, sailing along solo in my boat. I was kind of in the middle of the pack, but I'd gone a different tack to everyone else and so was quite far away from them all, out in the middle of the estuary. Then I capsized. Usually this is no big deal, happens relatively frequently. Only problem was this time the boom swung around and hit me on the head on the way down, throwing me into the water and leaving me stuck in the ropes. I was underwater, feeling groggy from the blow to my head, but remembered the training and calmly tried to untangle myself, which I managed. At this point I tried to surface, as I was now free and running out of air. The way the boat had gone down had ended up with me underneath the sail, which itself was now covered with, ridiculously heavy, water. I started panicking and trying to force the sail up with me under it, unable to breath. I realized I'd never get up so I tried to calm down again and started struggling to swim along under it. Swimming underwater, wearing a life jacket sucks by the way. I realized the current was pushing the boat along with me and trapping me under the sail, so I did the only thing I could think of. I tried to force myself further underwater, swimming down and pushing my feet on the sail. You see, the current is actually weaker further down than it is on the surface, so my hope was to let the boat drift over me as drifted in the weaker current. I held there for a few more seconds, still not having breathed in I don't know how long, before clawing my way back up. If I didn't hit air, I knew I'd die. Thank God the current higher up had pushed the boat over my head, leaving me relatively close by. I grabbed onto the boat, now fully upside down, and kinda pulled myself onto it. After a few minutes sputtering up water and gasping, I righted the boat and just lay inside, sails and ropes flapping everywhere, just glad to be alive. TL, doctor, drowning is F-word terrifying. Hope you enjoyed. Me and some friends used to go to the beach to play volleyball some evenings. One night, me and one of the guys walked over to a gas station across the road in between games to get a snack or whatever. A minute or two later everyone pulled up in a car. When we went to go back, the chick driving, who no one really knew that well, was like, hey, just hop on the trunk and hold on, it's just right back across the road. So me and my friend are like, okay cool, and hop on. Well, this girl had the brilliant idea once we were in the parking lot to take a turn going about 40 miles per hour thinking it would be funny. Me and my friend both get flung off the back of the car. Luckily, he landed in grass but still ended up breaking his arm. Me on the other hand, I was thrown onto the pavement where I cracked my head open, broke a collarbone, ankle, and 3 ribs. I went unconscious, and from what I was told, one of my friends literally sat there holding the back of my head together while they waited medics to arrive. I had to get life-flighted to a hospital about an hour away. I had 2 or 3 seizures on the way. When I came around in the hospital later that evening, the doctor told me had my friend not been holding my head together, or had the medics shown up like 5 minutes after they did, I probably wouldn't have made it. But all is well now. Actually, the obviously not Albert Einstein girl left after she saw how bad what she had done was, and actually ended up getting arrested and charged with something or another. The last I heard she was in jail, but that was like 2 to 3 years ago. I was working live sound at a festival for a small town. While we were setting up the speaker and light structure, we noticed the wire cable that hoists and holds the speakers was starting to fray, so we were going to bring the speakers down to replace the cable. As we are bringing the speakers down, I heard the cable start to creak. Then, like in a movie, time slowed down. I heard the cable snap, some lady screamed, and about 500 pounds of speakers fell from about 10 feet in the air and landed about 6 inches away from me. Luckily no one got hurt, but if I was positioned any more to the right I probably would have died or lost a limb. I was on a drop tower ride, and as it dropped my safety bar came loose. The belt stopped it from going all the way up, but even that was long and I'm a pretty small dude, I nearly slid out the side as it shot back up. The warning light came on slow and the operator didn't notice. Heart was pounding because I could feel myself slip more as the speed would pick up. I nearly fell out completely if I wasn't being held onto. Cycling down a blissfully quiet country lane in the UK in the height of summer, enjoying myself. An 18-wheeler comes out of nowhere from behind, didn't even hear it. It sailed past me and the rear left tail light pylon clipped me, hooked around my backpack and ripped me out of the saddle and sent me flying into a ditch. My view was straight ahead, then ground, then sky, then ground, then sky, then grass, then sky, then ditch, then black. I remember coming round a few minutes later, and I distinctly remember it being quiet and sunny still, as if nothing had happened. Driver didn't stop, didn't see him or get a license number or anything, and this was about 12 years ago, so I don't remember the fine details. When I was flying through the air, I had the weirdest thought about the lorry, that it was blue, and that was a nice color for a lorry. Why would you think about that when your life is literally flying before your eyes? Well, that's it for today, everyone. Thanks again for watching my video. And excuse the doggos, I figured you needed something cute after hearing about death. Well, thanks again and have a good evening. Yours, Mr. Reddit.